Welcome to State Sports News. We have some breaking news right now for you from the footballing world. Today is the final day of the Premier League season here on the 19th of May 25-20, and of course it brings to a close the 25-19, 25-20 Premier League season. And unsurprisingly, I'm sure, to many Premier League fans, once more West Ham have been confirmed as Premier League champions. It confirms West Ham's 7th Premier League over the past 10 seasons, and overall it gives them their 31st trophy as well. Not only that though, but with their 2-0 victory over Brighton, West Ham managed to even reach 100 points for the season as well. Unfortunately today though, it wasn't a happy day for fans of every side in the Premier League, with the confirmation of Middlesbrough's, Brighton's and Fulham's relegation to the Championship from the Premier League after they were confirmed as finishing in the bottom 3 of the Premier League table. That, however, wraps up the 25-19, 25-20 season. A lot of craziness has gone on, and West Ham, though, unsurprisingly being crowned once more as your Premier League champions. Maybe though next season, with West Ham being again in the Champions League, England's duck of having not managed to win a Champions League in almost 400 years may finally be broken. West Ham being the only team which has a qualification spot into Champions League, it is down to them to try and break that record. However, only time will tell if they manage to do it. But from us all here at State Sports News, thank you very much for joining us. Of course, that, as I've already said, wraps up everything for this season. From all of us here in the studio, thank you very much for coming along, and we will all see you again next time. Welcome guys to LS Plays FM and to a brand new experiment here on the channel, and as you most likely would have guessed based on State Sports News' little introduction there where he ran through the 25-20 Premier League table, you would have guessed probably that we've gone 500 years into the future and we are now here in the 25-19-20 season here on FM21. Now though guys, before we get into the nitty gritty stuff of this experiment here today, if you do enjoy this video guys, please do chuck a like down to the video. I'm going to set a massive goal on this video here today, and that is basically if we can hit 100 likes, which I don't know if we've ever hit on any video. I think we're pretty close on the 50 years experiment, but if we can hit 100 likes on this video here today, I will go 1,000 years later on FM21 as well. So if you want to see that guys, chuck a like down to the video. Once we hit that like target, I will get going with a 1,000 years later video as well. So hopefully we may be able to get that and maybe see quite what goes on even further down the line on FM21. But also guys, in addition to if you enjoyed the video and everything like that, if you do want to see any more of my content, such as my FM21 experiments or any of my FM21 tactics videos, there'll be a couple linked up above me as we go through this. There's some tactics which I've used in FM21 so far, which have all worked really well. And any of my FM21 regular series with the Red Devil Revival series, my Road to Glory save with Kaiserslautern, again that'll be linked above me. Do make sure guys do hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to notify when any of my content here on YouTube goes live. Now though, as I'm sure you're all wanting to see, let's get into this experiment and run through exactly what has gone on. One thing I will just point out, just so you guys are aware, in terms of the leagues that I have loaded, of course we've gone 500 years in, it's taken one hell of a long time to get here. I only have a small number of players loaded into the database and leagues as well. Essentially it is just the English leagues I have loaded, so the Premier League down to the Vanarama National, North, South, and then I have various other leagues available to view so we can still see what's gone on in them, but there's no players, or at least very few players are loaded from those divisions. As a result, for this video we are going to be highly focusing on English football, to have a look at the Europa League, Champions League, that type of stuff as well. But if you do want to see anything else which I don't cover here, maybe from some of the other leagues that have been loaded, that type of stuff, do chuck it down into the comments. I'm happy to do a part 2 for this. If people give me enough ideas if they want to see, I'll happily make a second part to this video as well. But let's get into it. Of course, we are 500 years later on FM. It is 25-20. We essentially have just finished the, 499th season, I think it is, or maybe 500th season, I'm not too sure. But we've gone one hell of a long way into Football Manager. If we go to our leagues in focus, of course, we're going to first of all go to the Prem, then the Championship, League 1, League 2, and then the Vanarama leagues as well. We may have a little look at certain teams, and then we'll go to the European competitions as well. You can see, by the way, that the Premier League isn't anywhere near the top of the leagues in focus. They are down here in the bottom right, probably behind my camera. I'm not too sure if you can see it behind here. But yeah, the Premier League isn't very good anymore in FM for whatever reason. If we open up the Premier League and let's go and look at it in full detail, we can see that West Ham, as State Sports News would have mentioned before we got into this video here, have been crowned most recently as the champions of the Premier League. They hit 100 points, and I also know for a fact that they have managed to get 7 Prems within the last 10 years. West Ham have become pretty good in the most recent seasons on FM21 for whatever reason. Arsenal up there in second. It's worth knowing Arsenal there with a Europa Conference League spot. No Europa League spots at all for the Premier League anymore. It's either Champions League or Europa Conference League. The Prem is terrible. I don't know why. I don't understand why. They just can't win anything in Europe. You then got Chelsea there in third, Liverpool fourth, Man U fifth, Man City sixth. So basically, second to sixth all looks pretty normal. It's just West Ham up there in top. It's then West Brom in seventh, then Palace, then Ipswich, Carlisle, Millwall, Colchester, Blackburn, Charlton, Sheffield Wednesday, Coventry, Swansea, Brighton, Borough and Fulham down there having been relegated. So I can always spot there's no Leicester and there's no Tottenham Hotspurs. I don't know if I'm missing anyone else. I don't see Villa either. But we may see some more as we go through the other leagues. But yeah, some big names already missing. Some weird names in there. That's just your likes of Colchester and Carlisle and Millwall up there. Wouldn't have expected to see that. But let's have a quick look at the profile though. And let's go to the past winners and see quite what has gone on in recent seasons. So if I select the past winners then and we scroll all the way up to the top here, we can see of course the most recent winners of the division are West Ham, Arsenal in second, then Chelsea in third. You then got Chelsea most recently before that, then a lot of West Ham, and then surprisingly a lot of Arsenals as well. I'm surprised by that. And then a lot of Chelsea's, a lot of Arsenal's, West Ham. So wow, there's been for the past like 30 years in a row, it has always been a London club has won the Premier League. Fair enough. Then Man City managed to finally break the London spell of dominance. More West Ham, some more Man City, some more West Hams. Man U with just the one up there. Then Chelsea. Then West Ham once again with so much dominance out there. Crazy, crazy good stuff there from West Ham. Chelsea, West Ham, Chelsea, Arsenal, more Chelsea. And then Colchester United. Little old Colchester. You start in what league? Are they League 2 or League 1? I know they're one or the other. I know they're down the bottom, aren't they? They're not a great side of Colchester United. But in 24-60-61, they managed to win themselves a Premier League trophy. Pretty crazy stuff that really, really is. We've then got more, though, in terms of other winners. Man U, Arsenal again, City. So it's quite regular looking teams. The only real shocks are West Ham and Colchester. Everyone else in that list are teams you'd expect to see up there. You really would do. Like the amount of dominance, especially Chelsea and Arsenal, just crazy good stuff. You got a few more wins there for Man U in the early 2400s. Then West Ham, I guess, must have been winning their first trophies around here because after this point there was a big gap up until West Ham really became quite dominant. I guess in recent times they've become quite a bit better. You've then got a lot of Norwich randomly here. Norwich, it was quite interesting actually seeing them here again because in the 100 years later video I did, Norwich were really good in that save as well. So it looks like Norwich teams will always do quite well at various points once you go further and further into Football Manager. In fact, saying that, yeah, Norwich here in the late 2300s were really good. They must have had almost 10 wins there in very quick succession. So very good stuff there from Norwich City. You then also got Southampton are up there as well. Another strange team I wouldn't expect to be up there. And Bristol City with a few title wins to their name as well. Again, definitely wouldn't expect to see Bristol City up there. A bit of a random one. Southampton I can maybe understand. The same with Norwich because Norwich have very good youth facilities. So they can bring through a lot of good youngsters. But yeah, Bristol City, I didn't think I'd be saying their name, nor did I would expect to see Colchester. And actually, wow, Bristol in the mid-2300s were insane. Wow, fair enough there, Bristol City. You've also got Spurs. Spurs haven't won a trophy, the Premier League that is, in over 150 years. In fact, nearly 200 years actually. The last one they won was 23-37 when they won the Premier League trophy, of which they managed to kind of get themselves in between the dominance of Bristol City. Of course, I've already noticed that Tottenham aren't even in the Prem anymore, so it explains why they're not winning it now, but that's crazy to think it's been nearly 200 years since they've won any league titles. Early on in the 2300s, they were actually quite good. They're themselves, Norwich, Chelsea. Wow, Chelsea's dominance there. Flipping heck. There's about 20 wins almost in a row there. A lot of Tottenham, a lot of Norwich as well, appearing there. The odd Man U in that list too. And then again, you've got most of the teams you can see, wow, flipping it. Chelsea were damn good, weren't they? Look at them now at Chelsea in the 2200s. Even West Brom. I've just spotted West Brom are in there. What on earth is West Brom doing in that list? There's Liverpool. I think that might be the first time we've seen Liverpool with a league title, actually. So they've gone almost 300 years, I think, unless I may have missed them earlier on. But that's crazy to be almost 300 years ago that Liverpool last won a Premier League trophy. Considering how much they were hurting about the 30 years without a Prem, I'm sure they'd prefer that over 300 years of no victory. You then got Pompey there in 23, 13, 14, their only title so far. You got a few Man U's, you got Man City, Portsmouth again, Swansea with a lot of titles under their belt. What is that, 15 almost there? That's nuts from Swansea City. Of course, not even an English side, and they're winning the Premier League. Pretty cool stuff. More from Man U, more from Norwich, more from Swansea, Man City. Then a lot of wins for Pompey. A few more for Swansea City and Chelsea. Again, more Chelsea. A lot of dominance there from Liverpool. An awful lot of dominance there from Southampton. Again, a bit random, really is. So you've got Southampton and arch rivals Portsmouth battling it out for the Premier League trophy. Fair enough there. Arsenal, Portsmouth again, Swansea. Of course, we're now within the first 100 years of the game at this point here. And of course, you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, kind of the majority of the teams you'll probably expect to see up here. Man City, Liverpool, Chelsea. Brighton had one quite early on within the first 50 years of the game. Seems to have been their only one that they won in there in 2069. You then got City, Chelsea. Palace had one in 2051. Random there. And then Arsenal, and then again, everyone else in there seems pretty normal in that list. And we finally get to the beginning of the game where Liverpool won the very first season in 2020, 2021. Overall, I've got to be honest, there's some absolutely random sizes. I'm surprised, though, how many of the big teams are still floating in and around the top of the Prem and winning themselves Premier League trophies. What's gone on in terms of the records, though? So Chelsea have the records for the most times, one of 121 trophies, which is crazy to consider because that means they might have won over 100 of the 500 available. Chelsea have the record number of points of 110 points. That isn't quite a perfect season. I think perfect is 114 maybe. I'm not too sure. Ipswich have the fewest points ever in a season of only 5 in 21, 34, 35. Chelsea have the most wins in the season in 36, which came when they got 110 points. Ipswich had the fewest league wins of 0. Oh dear, Ipswich. Newcastle with the most defeats in a season of 34. Preston had the fewest league defeats. Oh, that's the original one from Preston anyway. Norwich still have the most draws. That's a record that's stood since 1979. And yeah, other than that, that seems to be basically all the main records. The highest competition average for attendance was 67,000. Lowest competition average was 38,000. Man City had the highest attendance ever, though, of 140,000 capacity attendance in 23-28 when they played Spurs. What's their attendance then? Their stadium's only 125,000, so I'm guessing they must have had a bigger stadium and then downgraded, I would presume. I don't quite know. But yeah, that definitely wouldn't be the stadium they would have used at that point when they got 140,000 fans into the ground, because in the fact their ground now only holds 124,000. But still, that's pretty ridiculous to even consider. Out of interest, are Man U still at Old Trafford? They are not. Man U are now at the Bobby Charlton Park, 140,000 capacity. So fair enough there, Manchester United. Of course, that's all the records for the Premier League. I can see no one's broken the number of goals in a season or the most goals in a match. They are all still standing. The record from Dixie Dean with 60 in a season and 7 matches from Ted Drake from an Arsenal player are all still in place. So that still, as of yet, hasn't been broken. What about, though, let's go and have a look at the Championship. Let's see who's floating in and around the Championship. I won't go through past winners, that type of stuff, because obviously it's always going to be a different winner for the Championship every single season. But in terms of the teams in the Championship, Hull have won the most recent. Rotherham down there in second. Kidderminster finished 4th and got themselves promoted. Well done to Kidderminster. You've got Bromley up there in the Championship. You've got Bristol City down in the Championship, and Norwich, both of course who won quite a few Premier Leagues, are now finding themselves back in the Championship where they start the game. I've just spotted as well that Maidstone United are in the Championship. Oh, as a Maidstone fan, that is wonderful to see that they're not crap for once. So many times I've done experiments of Maidstone, no matter how far in I go, are always awful. Did they ever reach the Prem? Out of interest. Let me have a quick look. Maidstone United, I need to see this. Let's have a quick look. Premier League's listed on there. They must have got in the Prem. They did. They were in the Prem only 25 seasons ago. They actually got in there quite a few times, by the looks. If we go down When was their first ever time of getting Premier League? 24, 36, 37. So almost 100 years ago was their first ever foray into the Premier League. They never lasted very long, mind you. But it's good to see that Maidstone, for once, are not terrible. It's lovely to see as a Maidstone fan. I see Wolves are down in the Championship, so Wolves are stuck down there. Pompey, of course, who we saw their name appearing quite a few times in the Premier League winners, they're back down in the Championship as well. What about League One, though? Let's have a look, see if there's any big teams in there. Southend have just won the most recent League One title. Slough up there in second, with Wigan having won the playoffs. And Spurs and Everton are both down there in 4th and 5th place. So both of those sides got into League One playoffs and they both lost in those playoff fights there. I see Leeds are down there as well in 17th, so not great stuff from Leeds United either. Yeah, League One seems to be littered with a few big Premier League sides, it would appear. I've also just seen that Brentford and Huddersfield have both just been relegated from League One down there into League Two. And even Aston Villa, I didn't spot Villa first of all, but Villa are there, and so is Sheffield United. Wow, so League One is littered with Prem sides, and even Burnley as well, who I missed the first time around. So yeah, fair play. There's a lot of big names there. And I've also seen that Brighton won League One not too long ago either. What about League Two? Let's go and have a little look at League Two. Any big names? You've got Sunderland, have just been promoted from League Two. Any other big names? Newcastle United are in League Two. And so are Leicester. And so are Southampton. Southampton, who won Premier League titles. I'm pretty sure, I'm not entirely sure. We'll have a look when we look at the European trophies in a minute. I'm pretty sure Southampton may have won a Champions League as well. They're down there in League Two. Oh dear, Southampton. That is not good stuff there from them whatsoever. But the fact Newcastle down there and so are Leicester is nuts, considering the fact that arguably Leicester are one of the better teams in the Premier at the beginning of the game, and the fact they're this low down already is not good at all. Really not good stuff. What about Vanarama National though? Any big names down there? Not overly. Bolton got themselves promoted just recently. You got Gillingham, which is a Maidstone fans. Quite nice to see the Gills just being utter crap and down the bottom of the English pyramid, down there 11th in the Vanarama National. I see Watford have just been relegated from the Vanarama National League. Not great stuff if you're a Watford fan, that's for sure. Going down to, I presume, the Vanarama South. But yeah, other than that, there's no real big shocks, I would say, at least in the list of names of sides in that division. What about the North-South? Let's go to the North Division first of all. The Vanarama North. Any big names down there? I will be honest, looking at it, probably not. I mean, you've got Cheltenham. I suppose it's probably a relatively big name, but other than that, really, most of those teams there aren't overly that surprising to see being at this level. What about the Southern League instead? Let's have a quick look at there. Cardiff are down there in the Vanarama South. I mean, they've just won it, but that's nuts when you think about the fact that Swansea is still in the Prem. They only won it a few years ago, and yet Cardiff, their arch rivals, are down the complete opposite end of the spectrum and are down in the Vanarama South. Nuts to even think. You got Yeovil down there too. Dover still stuck there, which again, as a Maidstone fan, I am liking the fact that Dover are still down in the Vanarama South. That is good stuff indeed. Even Dartford as well. And Margate have just been relegated. That makes it even better. Oh, that's lovely to think. But yeah, other than Cardiff, there's no real shocks, I'd have to say, in the Vanarama South. Now, if we go to the Champions League then, and let's have a little look at what's gone on over there. Currently, the holders of the Champions League are Valur, who I think are Icelandic. I think they're Scandinavian anyway, having beaten St Mirren in the most recent final. So yeah, that says a lot about the Champions League nowadays. If we go to the past winners, if I scroll all the way up to the top, and you look at the list of names here, and we'll scroll through them all in a minute, you'll notice English teams don't show up very often, and that's why the English leagues don't have many qualification spots anymore. For whatever reason, English teams are just crap in Europe. The most recent, of course, was Valur. I say pretty sure Icelandic. Indeed, they are. So an Icelandic team winning the Champions League. You've got Kiev up there. RTB Empoli, Olympia from Croatia, Cluj, Maccabi Haifa, PAOK Athens, Basel, Strasbourg, Athletic Bilbao. Athletic Bilbao being up there is actually pretty cool to see. You got Freiburg, you got Empoli. My goodness, some of the names of these sides, just like you just think, and they're like so small at the beginning of the game. And the fact they're winning Champions Leagues, or in some cases multiple ones, I just don't know how they're doing it. You got Bodo Glimt, or Glimt from the Norwegian league up there, finishing as a runner-up. bizarre stuff. Absolutely bizarre. You got Empoli from Italy having won a few. Besiktas, Zenit St. Petersburg, Valur, Partizan Belgrade. You got St. Mirren up there with multiple Champions League wins. You got St. Johnston up there a couple of times. Legia Warsaw. Just some of the teams and some of the countries that they're from. The idea of them ever being like competitive in the Champions League, yet alone winning the thing, is just bizarre. It's totally crazy. Some of these teams appearing, we're only 50 years into it already. Just crazy stuff. You've got Dusseldorf from Germany winning a lot. Copenhagen's got a couple. Motherwell. For some reason, Scottish sides seem to be really good, it would appear. Ludogorets are up there. You got more from Besiktas. Malmo have got some as well. Strasbourg from France. They're the first French side I think we've seen. You've got Slovan Bratislava. Just crazy list of sides here. Spartak, Borisov, Sevilla. Sevilla being up there is actually quite a normal one, I would say. I mean, I know they haven't ever won the Champions League, but they won a lot of Europa Leagues in real life. But the other sides, other than Sevilla, just crazy. You've got Shakhtar up there with a couple, which, you know, maybe could happen. Probably not likely, though. More likely the Europa League, but even so. And then, yeah, just so many other sides. You've got Olympia up there again. Cluj up there again. Just completely crazy. Austria, Vienna. You got Valur up there with another win. Valur, how of an Icelandic side won multiple Champions Leagues? I don't understand that. Saint Etienne up there, of course. Saint Etienne, I think, may have won the Champions League in real life. I can't remember if they ever have. I know Marseille definitely have done, haven't they? You got St. Johnson, Slavia, Prague, Bilbao again with another one. So far, the only Spanish sides to have won the Champions League are Bilbao and Sevilla. No Barca, no Real, no Atleti, none of them. Just Bilbao and Sevilla. So, bit crazy that's the case as well. It really is. Just the fact there's no big name sides up there winning it. You got, I just spotted Roma down here. Roma probably one of the bigger sides to have won it alongside likes of Sevilla and Bilbao. But yeah, it's just bizarre. St. Mirren again up there. Bodo Glimt and HJK. Is that the Finnish side? HJK, it certainly is. My goodness. Just these teams are crazy. Maccabi Haifa, the Israeli sides, won it again. Just what is going on in Europe? You got Dynamo Zagreb up there. Zagreb I can understand because Zagreb get a lot of good youth players in their sides. But again, nuts. Freiburg are up there. You got PAOK from Greece. What is going on? Juventus. Okay, the first big name side. In fact, I've just spotted them up here as well. Juve are the first big name side that probably you would expect to maybe be winning a Champions League. And it hasn't happened since 22-87-88. So almost 250 years since arguably a name you'd be expecting to win the Champions League actually won it in Juve. What the actual hell is going on? Juve actually had a couple of wins, it would seem, under their belt here. Any other big names appearing? At the moment, no. You got Bodo Glimt up there with a couple in a row. What the hell is going on? Absolutely bizarre. And just the amount of Scottish sides, got to say, that are appearing in this list is ridiculous. And the fact that none of them are Celtic or Rangers as well. It's St Mirren, Motherwell, and teams like that. I do not understand this at all. There's actually a few wins in here from Juve, actually. So Juve seems to be quite good at points in this save. You got more from St Etienne. You got Basel up there. I think that's the first time we've seen a Swiss side having won it. Any other teams in here? More from Besiktas. You got more from Malmo, more from Basel, more from St Johnston as well. Olympia again from Croatia with a few. You got Austria Vienna, surprisingly won quite a few Champions Leagues as well. And there we go. Right, the first English side to have actually won the Champions League since we've gone on in this save. And it was in 2142. And it was Southampton. I thought they had won one. And yeah, Southampton, almost 400 years ago was the last time an English club won the Champions League, which explains why they are now so bad in terms of their qualification spots. They just don't seem to do anything in it anymore, it would appear. Let's keep going then. Any other big sides? Again, Juve are still appearing. Juve, though, are definitely the only big side. And then, here we go. Liverpool were the last other big side, I guess you would say, in terms of like reputation and that type of stuff in real life. And it was in 2111 that they won it. Over 400 years ago. Crazy, crazy stuff. And actually, PSG are up there in 2118 as well. So, you know, fair play. There's a lot of Strasbourg wins in here. So that's a bit bizarre that PSG managed to overcome Strasbourg, considering how good Strasbourg seemed to be at this period of time. Actually, it was a PSG-Strasbourg final as well. Two French clubs in that final. You got Man City are up there in 2101. Liverpool with a lot of wins under their belt. Freiburg got a lot. Bilbao were winning really early on, actually, saying that. And then the first other Spanish side that wasn't Bilbao or Sevilla was Real Madrid in 2058. That's nuts to think it's been that long since Real Madrid have won a Champions League. Over 450 years. I've just spotted Inter on that list too in 2056. You got Betis there, Man U, Arsenal, Chelsea. A few wins in there for Chelsea actually. And then we're starting to get back to regular time. It looks like actually PSG won the first 2 Champions Leagues in the game. Just crazy list of names there. Really, really bizarre. Let's have a look at the records though. So apparently the most times won is held by St Johnstone. Okay. Now it says, by the way, the highest attendance is 500,000. It's not. It's a bug in the game. I don't know why. Sometimes when you go really far into the future, you get really weird attendances for higher and lower attendances for leagues that aren't loaded. I don't know why. So Ingolstadt had an attendance of 15 apparently, and Basel had one of over 500,000. Yeah, it didn't happen. I've looked at Basel Stadium. Their stadium holds 40,000. So I don't know where on earth it got that figure from. Regardless though, there is some pretty nuts records in there. The fact that St Johnstone hold the records for the most wins is absolutely bizarre. In terms of Europa League, we'll just have a quick look. I'll just flick through them so you can have a little look and see who won it. Or I won't go through everyone because there's just some names in here which I've never even heard of. You can see though, if I kind of flick through, hopefully one of your sides that you support maybe won, you can have a little look and see. I'll have a look though at the records pretty soon in terms of who won it. I know, much like the Champions League though, that there was no English winner for absolutely ages. I don't know if it's quite as long as the Champions League. Let's have a little flick through and see just in case. There are some bigger names appearing in this earlier on. Juve in the late 2300s being a key example of that. But again, it's mainly dominated by the same sides that dominate the Champions League. I've already seen Valur and Malmo and Empoli in that list quite a few times. Again, there's more Scottish clubs in there. Motherwell I've spotted. I'm pretty sure I saw St Johnstone there too. Indeed, there's St Johnstone appearing just as we're flicking through it. But still, I don't think I've seen any English clubs as of yet. But as I say, if one of your sides won these teams, hopefully it may mean that in the future your team could be winning European glory. It would seem, as an English fan, I haven't got much to look forward to in terms of European competitions because of how bad they are. I just don't understand how they can be quite so awful. I really don't, especially as they're like the only league loaded. You think as they get a lot of real life players that they should be a lot better, but apparently they are not. And let's keep going. Oh no, here we go. The first English team, I think, to have won the Europa League was in 21-31, and it was Arsenal to be the last one to have won it. I just spotted 1860 Munich had one. That's pretty cool to think, of course, 1860 Munich starting the 3rd division of German football, and the fact that they're winning a Europa League is pretty cool to think. And I wonder if they ever overtook Bayern Munich. Who knows? I see Liverpool and Chelsea up there with some victories. As we mentioned in Bayern Munich, they've got a victory there in 2090. Man City are up there. Almeria randomly from Spain. There's some really weird teams that appear on this list. There really, really are. Atleti with their first win on anything. I think I've spotted their name there in 2062. And you got some more wins there for Spurs, Liverpool. You got Real Madrid up there. Barcelona, that might be the first time we've actually spotted Barcelona winning European competition. United, City, Liverpool, Betis, Inter. Hannover 96 won the Europa League as early as 2024, which considering the fact I think they start in the 2nd division. How the hell did they manage that? But fair play to Hannover. Bayern apparently won the 2nd ever one, and Chelsea won the 1st one in game. But some really bizarre things there. In terms of the record number of wins, it's held by Dynamo Zagreb with 27 wins. You can see again the bugged out attendances. Basel again with their 500,000 and Ingolstadt with only their 15. I've got no idea where on earth that comes from. Apparently, the highest scoring match ever was Ludogorets with an 11-0 win over TNS. Poor old TNS, not a great thing there. And I've just seen as well that Bate Borisov hold the record for the most matches won of 19 in a row between August 24-11 and August 25-05. So apparently went over 100 years just winning in a row. I don't know how they managed to win 19 games unless they didn't qualify in respective years. But even so, fair play to Bate Borisov. But that there is the Europa League. Now the final thing we'll just check out before we finish off here today is just the World Cup and the Euros and see who's been winning those competitions as well. So let's go first of all to the World Cup and see quite what's gone over there. Apparently the most recent holders are the Netherlands, who won the 25-18 World Cup. And let's have a look at the past winners and see what else was going on with those competitions. Now the most recent one of course was won by the Netherlands. You've got Italy up there, you've got Netherlands again, Germany, Portugal, England, France, England, Germany. It's surprising seeing England winning this many, considering how bad England is in club football. I wouldn't have thought England would be this good internationally, but apparently they're not too bad at the World Cups. I just spotted, by the way, at the very first World Cup, the runner-up was Ghana and 3rd place was Angola. Okay, weird stuff there, but fair play. You got Netherlands winning, you got Belgium, Ivory Coast, Canada with a World Cup under their belt. Well done, Canada. That's pretty cool to see. You got England up there, the Netherlands, Ivory Coast with another one. Ivory Coast seems to be pretty good, it would appear, in FM21 this late into the game. You got Spain, Portugal, Netherlands, France, England, Spain, Portugal, Ivory Coast again in there a few times. Italy, you got Spain again, England, Germany. So overall, it seemed the majority of the sides are pretty standard, other than the fact Ivory Coast seem to crop up quite a lot randomly. You got Belgium, England, Norway with a couple of wins there in the late 2200s. They had 2 in a row. You got Belgium, Brazil, Denmark with a couple. Denmark is not a team I expected to see. And Sweden and Poland. Again, sides I didn't really expect to see. It would appear that the European sides especially are really, really dominant. You got a couple in here for Brazil. But other than that, and of course the Ivory Coast wins, other than that, the majority of the winners seem to reside in Europe, it would appear. You got a couple wins actually in there for Poland and a couple in a row there for Denmark. Denmark, it would appear, became a really strong side in the mid-2200s. You got Sweden in there as well. Denmark again, Poland, Germany, Spain, England, Denmark, South Korea. Well, that's cool to see. South Korea, the first Asian team ever in history to then win a World Cup, was South Korea in 2142. Turkey up there, Slovakia, quite early on actually. Slovakia won quite a few. As early as 2082 they were winning the World Cup, so fair play to them. Turkey, Brazil, Wales, Croatia up there, Spain, England, and then Portugal as we get back to the regular times of the World Cup back in 2022. What about the records though for the World Cup? Its most winners are England, which is probably unsurprising, the fact that England have won as many as they have. Out of interest, who holds the records for the most goals in a game? So apparently an English player, Maye, I don't know quite how to pronounce it, Garang, from England in 23-30 had the most goals at a World Cup of 16, which is crazy. And the most goals by a player in a match is held by an Icelandic player, Gylfi Argnason, who scored 12 goals in one game when they faced Grenada in 2090. Wow, fair play there, Gylfi, with your 12 goals in a game. He scored 4 hat-tricks in one match. But that's pretty nuts to think that he scored 12 goals in one game, and yet the record for most goals in a World Cup is only 16. So that means he probably must not have scored barely any other goals after that one match. But regardless, fair play to him. That, of course, is the World Cup. Let's have a look at the Euros as well before we finish off today. Let's go to the European Football Championship and see who has won the most of those as well. Let's go all the way out to the top. Most recently was Italy after they beat England in the 25-16 European Championships. Of course, the next one's going to be happening in this season, but we won't be going through that unless we go 1,000 years later, of course. We then got England, France, Portugal, England again, Spain, France, and Netherlands. I'll be honest, most of these teams all look pretty standard. I'll flick through them a bit quickly like I did with the Europa League. I haven't seen any crazy names popping up yet. I suppose you've got Turkey in there in 23-56. Again, nothing major. Turkey again. You've got Norway though there in 22-92. I think that was not long after they won their 2 World Cups in a row. I think that was the late 2200s as well. You got Denmark in around this period of time too, much like when they were winning their own World Cups. There's a few Denmarks actually who won in around the 2200s. So Denmark, it would seem, became very, very good at football, as well as Poland with another win there to go alongside their World Cups. More Denmarks. You got a few more Poland spread in there. And yeah, generally speaking, other than that, when I was saying, I was about to say it was all pretty normal. Then I just spotted Switzerland won it in 2084. Then there's a couple of Scottish victories there in the 2036 and 2040s. And what the hell is that? The very first European Championship in 2021, of course, the delayed Euros that happens into the very first season of the game, was won by Austria. How the hell did Austria manage to win that? Fair play, Austria. They managed to apparently beat Italy in the final. And wow, fair play. I did not feel I'd seen Austria as European Championship winners in the very first year of the game, but apparently they managed to do it. Let's have a little look at the records as well before we finish off. Much like the World Cup, the record number of wins is held by England. The biggest win is now an 8-0 win by Portugal over Russia. The most goals for a player over a competition was 11 for another English player, and the most goals in a match is 6 for an English player after they beat Norway 8-1. In one of their games. Overall though, guys, that just about brings this experiment to a close. Of course, we've covered one hell of a lot of things that have gone on 500 years later, and of course there is a lot more to look over, do not get me wrong. So as I mentioned earlier on, if you do want me to have a look at anything else that I haven't covered today, whether that be specific teams, different leagues, I have other leagues loaded, other competitions, whether they be other European ones, other international ones, that type of stuff, let me know down in the comments, and if there's enough stuff for me to put into like a part 2 video, I will happily do that as well for you all. Now though, as I say, that does bring this experiment here today to a close, and we've been through one hell of a lot of stuff, we really have. There's some absolutely bizarre stuff going on in there. The fact, can I just say, that no English club has won a European competition in terms of club football for almost 400 years in both the Europa League and Champions League is incredibly just ridiculous. I do not understand that. England is the only league that has been loaded, so you'd expect their teams to be really heavily bulked out with players. But apparently, that is not the case. It would appear that the other leagues with all their fake players and that type of stuff are just far superior to the English sides. And the fact they only now have one position for the Champions League that qualifies now for the league winner in the Prem is bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. I've never seen the Prem be that bad. Still though guys, I really do hope you have enjoyed this video here today. If you have, as I mentioned earlier, do make sure to drop a like down to the video. If we hit 100 likes, I will be going 1,000 years into the future as well. And also, as I mentioned earlier on, if you do want to see any more of my content, much like my tactics videos, my regular FM21 series, or any more FM21 experiments, do make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so when any of my content here on YouTube goes live. But guys, thank you very much for watching today. I really do hope you enjoyed the experiment, and I will see you again next time.